Hey guys, it's Spider Pig, and today we're going to fly the Polychop Gazelle and take it for a spin around Vegas. So, just getting in here and looking at the cockpit. She's amazing looking. I turned on the TV camera so you can see what she looks like. Let me just jump in the co-pilot seat here, and you can actually see that, I have the controls. I can actually zoom in and zoom out. And in the future, when you fire tow missiles, you need to keep the target within the crosshairs there, because the tow missile has a guide-by-wire system. But the cockpit itself looks amazing. I'm looking back here, looking up here. It feels very, really real in the Oculus Rift DK2. Let's just jump into the pilot seat here. All the gauges are actually fairly readable with the DK2, and which is not bad at all. I know with the older jets, with the Flaming Cliffs 3 aircraft, I've always had a hard time reading them, and especially some of the HUDs, they weren't really centered for the Oculus Rift. I could see the navigational systems here very well. Either the radios, I can see I believe it's called the NADIV navigation system, and I can see my co-pilot here, who just happens to be staring at nowhere. The other thing is, I don't have this map right now, but if you do put down the night vision goggles or the visor, you can actually see the animation for that. We'll figure that out at some point. But let's go ahead and just move this a little bit to the right. Just move this. Hold up. And you can see the cooler little lighting effect for that. Now we're at the airport right now. We're going to go ahead and take off and do a little tour of Vegas. Okay. Now, as usual with the Oculus Rift in helicopters, it does get a sense of a lot more motion, and taking off is definitely a little trickier than normal, because I am feeling the takeoff versus just flying with my track IR. So now that I'm kind of good and above the ground, let me go ahead and put some forward spin on her, and we will head to Vegas. And we'll do a quick tour here of the airport. Now, the Gazelle herself is a very nimble little aircraft, so she can do rolls and loops and things like that. I am not that good of a helicopter pilot, so I'm not going to attempt those, but I've seen it done, and it is pretty cool. Maybe someday I'll be able to get a track of somebody doing it, and I'll play it back, and I will try not to vomit. But until then, we'll keep her nice and steady here. I might go a little crazy in Vegas, we'll see. There's one of the towers here. Look at that. You think people will park next to each other, but no, they're parked all over the place. If you notice, there's a red light down there. That's the there's the radar indicator. Basically has a kind of a mode that you could say, if I'm flying below a certain altitude, bring that light on. I can actually change it. I think it's over. I forget where it's at. To the right of it, yeah. But it is kind of cool that you can actually set that so you can actually remind yourself if you're flying too low. Although the Gazelle technically does fly low fairly often in missions, because she has to avoid radar, and she kind of needs cover before firing her missiles, and kind of a cool little thing. So we're gonna get a little low here and take a little tour of Vegas. She's very nice to fly as far as controls go. It took me, I did have to get a little used to her, but just like any aircraft, it takes a couple flights to get used to her. Not that bad to put on a hover. She does have a hover mode, and the thing is, with the Oculus Rift, there's no control indicator, so I wouldn't be able to tell you if I'm in it or not. I'll actually see how close we can get here to this head here. That's pretty cool looking down there. Alright, let's get some speed. Go to the other side. Now, the other interesting thing about the Gazelle, she has an interesting tail section, and it kind of makes it a little stealthier and more aerodynamic, which is kind of cool. And but the nice thing is, above 100 kilometers per hour, you don't need to actually have any rotor inputs to keep her straight. So it's kind of interesting. Let's fly over the water fountain here, even though the water is not moving. Ooh. hopefully someday they'll actually activate that, because I think it'd be kind of fun to fly in the water and kind of clean up the helicopters and the jets. But all right, we're looking around here, and Vegas is looking pretty nice as usual. Let me go ahead and see if I can fly here between some buildings. Okay. There's turn around here. The other thing I have to say is, it's like, even though I'm not looking at Sven here, I can feel his presence at all times, because it is very claustrophobic here in the cockpit with him. And I think it's something you don't realize when you're flying without the Oculus Rift, how claustrophobic you are sitting next to this guy who's right next to me. Yes, I'm talking about you, Sven. And, you know, you can almost even smell him, you know, just being right there next to you. He doesn't talk much, but it is kind of interesting feeling. It's like, I feel like I can't really move my left arm because I'll bump right into him, but that's, you know, how cool it is with the Oculus Rift on. Here you can see, I can see the airport very nicely. I can see Vegas very nicely at this altitude, and it's kind of nice to see. You know, it's, you can look around and you can actually see pretty nice things. There's the tool launchers right there. But we didn't bring any weapons with us today, and you know, over there we have the first aid kit, and so let's go ahead and get a little low again, and see what we can do. Let's see if I can get some speed, and I will actually try. I will not say, I don't know if I'll be successful, but I will maybe see if I can try to roll her. Make sure I have enough speed and altitude first. And I'm hoping to keep my stomach intact and not throw up. So, all right, get a little more speed here. Okay. Oh, okay. That was that was fun, but definitely a little nerve-wracking on the stomach there. But there you go. She's capable of rolling. All right, let me get close to car parks here. Let's go see if we can do a little low-level flying here. As you can see, she's very kind of agile, very maneuverable. Let's see if we can just follow these cars here. The interesting thing is, it's how big these signs are, how big everything is, because in the Oculus Rift you definitely get a sense of size, and how small you are in the cockpit, and how, you know, big the aircraft is and things like that. So it is really cool to experience, and I definitely recommend it to everybody. I did order my CV1 Oculus Rift, and hopefully it'll be here in 1 to 3 weeks. I just got the email yesterday, so I'm excited about that. And all right, let's turn around. Let's head back to the airport here. And that one, by the way, over here there's a temperature gauge, which it's kind of one of those cool things you can just look at, like right now. And I can actually read it pretty nicely too with the Oculus Rift. One thing I noticed is how many car parks are in Vegas, man. All right, so let's head back to the airport, and we'll give her a landing. I do find that with the Oculus Rift and helicopters, it's a lot easier to land, because I have a sense of a distance from the ground a lot better than I do with, you know, just flying with the track IR, because the track IR you can zoom in, zoom out, things like that, and I find that kind of doesn't help with judging distance. But now that we're gonna go down here, we'll go ahead and land. I'm keeping an eye on my vertical velocity indicator, and I'm going to try to keep it under 0, just slightly under 0, and come in for a nice soft landing. That's at least the theory here. Alright, giving her some right rudder here. And there you go. So that's the Gazelle. Definitely an incredible helicopter to fly in the Oculus Rift DK2. I can't imagine how much better she's going to be in the CV1. I definitely recommend getting her, even if you don't have the Oculus Rift, because she's so much fun to fly. And she's going to make a great addition to the DCS world. So enjoy it, guys.